What's going on, Aces? Welcome back to the channel. I hope that all of you are having a beautiful Sunday. It's rainy where I am, but that's okay. It's still a beautiful day. I was out walking my dogs, getting drenched. But I really love when it rains. It's very calming and tranquil. And it's the perfect time to make some recaps. So we're going to get into this Love and Marriage Huntsville episode 10 recap titled Unpaid in Full. And yeah, that title alone says everything, right? It's full of shade. So the episode begins with Tiffany, who she is really visibly upset and her blood pressure is actually extremely low. She said that, she was seeing stars and she was crying. And so, one thing I love about Kimmy, she's a nurse. She's like, we took Maurice's car. We don't have my stuff in the back. I can't take your blood pressure. And then Stormy comes in and, Lou's like, can you get her some water? So I love the fact that Stormy and Kimmy, they're women of action. Like they put plans into place and then they execute them. And you can see that not only with their businesses, but also, if they're just in casual settings like this one. So Lou ends up saying, you know what, we're not going to wait for the ambulance because Tiffany's like, no, don't call 911, don't go to the ambulance. And Tiffany and Lou addresses this later in the video or in the on the show, and I'll talk about it too. But he just says, basically, Tiffany, I know you think that you're Superwoman, but you can't do it all, right? And so he ended up, picking her up, taking her to the hospital. They get there and they find out that she has low blood pressure, and they tell her to pretty much take it easy, go into bed rest. And I'll talk about Lou and Tiffany's conversation in their bedroom a little bit later. But then after that, it cuts to Tisha and Marseu, and they are preparing for building their dream home, Scott Manor. And so they go onto the construction site and they're all dressed up. They're breaking ground. And Marseu hires a photographer. And Tisha comes out there and she's like, oh my goodness, I should have worn my boots, because she has on like this pink frilly dress and, white high heels. But they're breaking ground and they're taking pictures and making memories. So I can't really fault them for that. But later on in the episode is when I'm going to get into Tisha and Marseu and where they're wrong, in my opinion. Okay, so then we got to talk about Martell. And, he's ventured from Inez wine, which is the wine that he created and named after his late grandmother, which he says is doing very well. I don't know. I haven't tried it. I haven't tasted it. But if you guys have and, it's good, let me know in the comments your thoughts. But he meets with a very well-known suit designer. So he says that he wants to design a label of suits. Now, I will say that Martell, to his credit, he can wear a suit. He takes very, good care of his body. He's supposed to be helping Marseu get into a better physical shape. And I would think that instead of doing like wine or, suits, if I was Martell, and this is just me, I would have done something along the health and fitness line. It seems as though that would be the brand that he would have, the most experience and knowledge base in. Because when the young lady, the business associate that came, asked him about, do you want double breasted? Do you want, this specific lapel? Martell was just like, humna. Like he didn't do his background research. He didn't have a business plan, a business proposal written up, none of those things. And you can tell during their marriage, Melody was the brains behind everything. Martell still hasn't passed the business licensing exam, for him to finalize his construction business and wear that hat. So he's studying with Marseu and they're, bartering back and forth where he's going to help Marseu get into shape. Marseu's going to help him pass the business licensing exam. But you would think that if you're going to go into business with fashion and, and have a suit label, that you would do some research in business in regards to specifically what type of suit you want to attach your name to. But Martell doesn't do that. Again, I thought, or I would be thinking that hopefully, and Martell, if you hear this, or someone on his team, say, hey, you know what? You work out a lot. Maybe you should, like for instance, Kenya and Phaedra during their Real Housewives of Atlanta seasons way back years ago, but they both put out a fitness video. Maybe start a fitness YouTube channel or market some kind of exercise equipment, something like that, that you have the background and the knowledge of. That's just my 2 cents. So then we get Melody on her end, and she meets with her attorney, and she is, discussing how Martell was just, he's a habitual line stepper. Like, he is someone who still wants access to Melody as if they're still married, which they're not. And, you know, she was saying that he was popping up at the house. So she had to, drop a letter from her attorney. She was thanking him for that, to stop all the excessive phone calls and, just constantly crossing her boundaries. And, she was like, I'm so surprised that his attorney, asked me for my social media passwords and just really intrusive things. Her attorney's like, yeah, I've never had that happen before in a divorce case. And then she's like, I want to change my name back to Rodgers because I don't want to be Melody Holt anymore. She's already changed her name on her socials. And so he's like, well, we have to wait until you are completely finished with all the legal proceedings, because, you can't change your name in the midst of something in the court system. And which makes sense, right? That, proper protocol. And so she's like, oh, okay. She's like, so I have to wait until we're all done. And he's like, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. You have to wait, which, again, I completely understand that, but it does, I don't know. It's difficult, I guess, on her end that she has to be Melody Holt for longer than she wants to. But I know she's going to be a lot more careful when it comes to her next relationships. And, some lessons we all learn the hard way, right? Speaking of her next relationship, so toward the end of the episode, the comeback group is together. Tisha and Marseu, send out an email and they invite everybody to discuss their, Black Business Expo that they're doing. Black, BLAQUE, their cigar bar, not BLACK. So their cigar bar is putting on a business expo for the community. And so, Kimmy's there, Melody's there, but Tisha and Marseu are late. And, everyone else is late too, Martell and Maurice. So they get to talking and Kimmy's like, well, I saw, some pictures of you on social media, because she was asking her about vacations. Kimmy's done with the first, I think, 6 weeks of her radiation. And so she's asking, Melody about some vacation spots. And Mel's like, oh, you should go out of the country, which I absolutely second that. And Kimmy's like, where? And she's like, oh, go to St. Bart's, or, she's giving her suggestions. And Kimmy's like, well, I keep seeing you on an island somewhere, and I saw an arm, draped all over you on social media. Who is that? You got a new boo? and Melody, and Melody's like, she's kind of hemming and hawing, and, she's like, it's none of your business. So anyway, everyone else gets there and they are discussing payment arrangements. Basically, Marseu and Tisha want everyone to work for free. And he actually calls them greedy because they want to get paid for their time and their expertise. No, they're dead wrong for that. I think that, Melody, she gets paid to public speak. She has, the millimeters. She has a big social media presence and following. And even Maurice is like, oh, well, maybe we shouldn't get paid. No. Kimmy, Melody, and Martell in this instance are 100% correct that they want to get paid for their time, and they should. So that's my recap. Y'all let me know in the comments your thoughts on this episode. It was pretty good, I have to admit. Oh, before I let you go, Lou and Tiffany, they just, like I said, were in their bedroom talking about how Tiffany needs to slow down, which she did. She gave birth to a healthy baby boy named Ace. So You guys, please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And I will talk with you later. Take care, Aces. Bye.